I went and stayed at a stranger's house in a foreign country to save some money on hotel costs. Is that something you think you would do? Let's talk about how I did it and how you can too. Hey you, it's Olivia. I like talking about honestly just my life, which means international travel, nursing, and budget living. I'm not abroad right now, but this is my little Storytime series to kind of fill in the gaps until I go abroad again and can take you along. So, where we're at in the story right now is that I had gone back up to Amsterdam with my travel companion Angel from Peru. You can see about how we met in this video over here. But we were going back to Amsterdam so Angel could get his last vaccine there before we flew over to India. So today, like I hinted at in the intro, we're going to be talking about a really cool service called Couchsurfing. So what is Couchsurfing? Well, it's an app, but it's also kind of a community and a philosophy. And basically what you do is you go into the app and kind of like with Airbnbs or, hotel search websites, you put in the place that you want to go and when you want to go. And then it pulls up all these people who are offering up their homes, whether that's a couch or even an entire room sometimes, for free. And all they ask in exchange is, some kind of exchange on your end. It could be that you're good at music and you play some songs, or it could be that you do a language exchange if they're learning a language that's your native language. It could even be cooking a meal. There's so many options, and it's a really cool way for us to just kind of get to know each other better as a human family. That being said, are there risks involved? Of course. Usually you kind of have to build up a little bit of a rep, which can be difficult with people who maybe have settings that make them feel a little more safe or are a little bit more open to risk. And then once you yourself have a rating as somebody who is hosted by Couchsurfing, it's easier to get places because you've established that you're trustworthy. And as far as the hosts, they kind of have the same thing. Once they've had a certain number of people stay and leave good reviews saying, hey, this is a clean, okay place, this person's nice, they're not a creepy serial killer person. Oh, I'm gonna have to cut that part out. I actually did do it alone as a girl in the States once, and that was really to try it out and give myself a little bit of rep, because like I said, that's important too, before we went international with it. But I can honestly say I'm not sure how I would feel about doing it internationally as a woman. I would probably only want, maybe families or a couple or another woman, not necessarily a man by himself, which is what we did in Amsterdam. We rented a room, or not rented, we used a room from a Dutch guy in Amsterdam. So I'll go ahead and start telling you a little bit about our specific experience. But don't forget that I am leaving a link down below so that if you want to check out Couchsurfing yourself, it's not sponsored or anything. You can also just Google it. It'd be the same. But just to give you a direct link if you wanted to check it out. All right, let me tell you about my Couchsurfing experience in Amsterdam. So our host lived in kind of a suburb area, a little bit away from the attractions and main Amsterdam, like how we had stayed in the hostel the first night. It was a little bit away from there, but we were a short walk from the canal and a train station that got us everywhere we wanted to go. When we first came in, he was very gracious. He showed us around. We were going to be staying, so it was one of those more European style townhouses where there was quite a little bit of space, but it was a little bit pressed together, and there were multiple stories to the house to give that space. The first floor was, the kitchen and living room and, basically public spaces like dining room also. And then upstairs were the bedrooms and the bathroom. There was a bathroom that was more just for the host, and then a bathroom that was more of, I guess you could call it the public bathroom or the bathroom for everybody else. Now, before I tell you the second part, I want to make sure I'm being clear that just because I'm not sharing 1,000% positive, that's also not me complaining, because at the end of the day, somebody let me into their home for free and was very gracious and gave me a chance, and I got to have a really different experience and in perspective of Dutch life in Amsterdam thanks to him. So with that said, I have to admit it was pretty cold. Even though it was September, which for me as someone from the south is actually still almost summertime, up there it was already starting to be winter, and it had actually started to rain, so it was, that damp, cold thing going on. And the house was a little bit drafty because it was an older house. And we were right by a window. It was just cold, y'all. And added to that, whenever he showed us our room, we had one bed, which Angel and I had already talked about the fact that we were going on this big long trip and we were going to try to keep the beds separate, but we also already knew that something like this might happen, although we didn't think it was going to happen so soon in the trip. And Angel, like the gentleman he is, had already said, "Oh, it's okay, I'll literally sleep on the floor." And he said it half joking, but also not joking, that, if we run into a situation like that. But I just told him, I'm like, look, it is cold. These are like hardwood floors. You're gonna freeze down there. Because also, we didn't have 2 blankets. Well, we had 2 blankets, but one of them was a bit damp. I'm not sure if because of the conditions in the house or because it had just rained. And because we were staying for free, we just felt really awkward and weird being like, hey, this blanket is damp. Can we have a different one? So we only had 1 blanket to work with too. And I told him, look, let's just put one of the smaller backpacks down between us and we'll share the bed. But because of that little backpack, the blanket didn't really cover either of us completely. So we were just like shivering with one of us with our back up against the backpack on one side and one with the other. And I remember when we woke up the next day, Angel jumped out of bed and he started doing push-ups, just trying to warm up a little bit. Having access to the kitchen was great. We just did a little bit of grocery shopping at the end of our day in Amsterdam, went home and cooked, and then we got to hang out with the host and just, talk about life. It was cool because he really wanted to go to South America, and so he was excited to be hosting Angel, and he even showed him a little bit of his Spanish, although, and I totally relate, he was nervous because he was still a little bit newer in his Spanish, and all of a sudden there's a native speaker in front of him from Latin America, which is his target region. And I could tell he was nervous, but it was fun. So yeah, we just kind of hung out and chatted for a good hour or 2, and then it was time for everybody to go to bed. So we went upstairs and we spent, I can't remember if it was 1 or 2 more nights there. I think it was just 1 more night, and it was already time to go. Let me tell you a little bit about what we did that day in Amsterdam before we close out for tonight. So for our other day in Amsterdam, of course, we took Angel to get his second vaccine, or his second round of the vaccine he needed before going to India. And we also went to the Van Gogh Museum. We had tried to go for our first trauma round, but it was closed for some reason. I don't remember why, or maybe it was like all the tickets were already sold out for that day. We went because I had a relative who really, really wanted me to go and get her postcard. I got the postcard, and I feel so bad admitting this, but it never got to her. What happened was that I had it in my purse, and the purse got a little bit wet, and there was water damage, and so I was like, oh, I don't feel right sending her a water damaged postcard. So, yeah. Besides that, we really just kind of wandered around Amsterdam. We took some pictures by the canal, and enjoyed it. I think it's a very beautiful city. I feel like people take pride in it. Whenever we were there walking around kind of earlier in the morning, I saw people coming out to sweep the streets and put the flowers up for the day, and it was just a really nice vibe. Another vibe of Amsterdam that we checked out at the nighttime was we did go to the red light district. It was interesting. We didn't go inside of anywhere. We just, saw the ladies in the windows and stuff like that. And Angel was actually really happy because he thought that I was like too stuck up to do something like that. And I'm like, no, I mean, this is literally part of a famous thing of Amsterdam. Why not have the experience, at least of walking around? It actually is a very touristy spot. Like, I saw crowds, and I thought it was very nice and respectful that even though these people are working in that kind of work, I don't know if I can say that kind of work on YouTube, especially because this is going to be a shorter video, but you know what I'm talking about. You know what the red light district is, right? They had signs everywhere saying, do not take pictures of the girls in the windows, don't take pictures of the actors, because they have theaters that you can go into where people are doing, adult activities. So that was a nice, respectful touch, and it seemed like everybody was respecting it. I mean, nobody really had their phones out. Everybody was just walking around checking it out, being like, okay, this is what it is. Maybe buy some souvenirs because there were also souvenir shops, and go about your way. So, and also, I wanted to note there were also no kids. Everybody was obviously at least 16 and older. And I think that's nice too, that everybody was kind of automatically putting up that boundary that, hey, this is an adult thing, it's for adults. So that was really nice too. I remember Angel and I talking about that, being like, it's nice to see that people understand what environment this is supposed to exist in. Amsterdam is also famous for lots of different recreational things being legal. We didn't try that out in part. I honestly am relatively open-minded with that stuff. Being a nurse, I don't usually try or experiment, and I never really have, even in college, because in college I knew I wanted to go to nursing school, and I know that they drug test in nursing school. And also, it used to be that a lot of hospitals would nicotine test, so I never even really got into smoking, and it was all because of my nursing career. So thanks, nursing career, I guess you've kept me out of a little bit of trouble since the beginning. But of course it's all legal over there, and we knew that we were going to be, neither of us were going to be looking for a job for literal months, so everything would have time to clear. But we were worried that if we did something and it had a reaction for us or something, we could possibly miss our flight, because we were running on kind of a tight schedule, and we were also going to be staying in someone else's home, so we didn't want to be coming home high or anything like that. So that was not an aspect of the Amsterdam experience that we delved into. And yeah, now we are actually done talking about the second part of our Amsterdam experience. The host warned us about the airport, and you and I are going to be talking all about that airport next week, because that deserves its own video. Oh my lord. So make sure that you are subscribed with the bell, and that you tune back in if this is something interesting for you. And check out some of my other things, because I'm not just a Storytime channel. I have lifestyle kind of vloggy things, and we also have Storytimes about nursing. Those are Storytimes, but they're about a very different topic. So if any of those things interest you, pop on over to my channel and check some more videos out. Thank you so much for clicking in today, though. If you are interested in trying Couchsurfing, it is something that we do in the States and also all over the world. So please check it out through a Google search or through the link I have down below. And if you've Couchsurfed before, I would love to hear about your experiences, or if you're a host. And yeah, that's about it for today. So you go have a beautiful whatever day it is that you're watching this video, and we'll see each other again next time. Bye bye! Hey internet bestie! Thank you so much for sticking around to the very end. Ooh, and if you didn't know, you're one of my new internet besties now because you stuck around after the credit scene. For today, I just wanted to invite you to drop down in the comments a little emoji of something that makes you think of Amsterdam, so that I know you stuck around to the very end and you're one of my internet besties. There's actually one thing, I'm not going to say what it is, but it's something that Amsterdam is very famous for, but that I didn't really mention in these videos about Amsterdam. So leave that down below. Let's see if you can get it. Alright, you go and make your best life, and we'll see each other again, hopefully very soon. Bye bye!